yeah, that's what I did. Okay, yeah, I'm all set up with that on that end, so that's good. Cool. Thanks for the pointers. Sorry for being a little bit slow on.
No, it's fine. We got this going, and I'm excited. Um, so yeah, let's get this thing rolling.
All right, let's do it. All right, well, how are you today to start
Uh,
off?
I'm very good. I was pumped for this. I was racing myself in the mirror, um, going like, "You can do this. It's your time to shine and rhyme and all that fun stuff."
That's
Um,
good.
no, I think this is going to be really fun. Ada should be here at any moment, and as you know, Ada is the world's greatest viewer in the world.
Yeah, she's always very supportive, like you said. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, so like you have to have like supportive viewers. You only need like a couple to really make you feel like on top of the world, and she's one of them. Hello, yeah, she's here. Okay,
Awesome.
that's good. Um, but how are you? You know, I like you're the interviewer, but nobody ever asked the interviewer how they are.
That's funny. I was actually thinking about that just before we went in. I'm not kidding. I'm doing good, actually. I'm just, Monday. It's Monday back at school and stuff like that for me, and coming off a good weekend, being back at home. So that was crazy. I'm a little bit sunburned. So it's kind of that, I don't know, there's like a feeling afterwards, after you get sunburned and after you had a long weekend, you're just kind of like, blah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
right, like a
Okay.
zombie,
Yeah, like a
very,
zombie.
very
So,
tan looking zombie.
yeah, well, I don't think I get that tan. I just get more red. So, but thanks
Yeah.
for asking. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I get progressively more Italian when I go into the sun. So it just like by the end, if I go to the beach, like at the end of like a long beach day, I will just like a spaghetti and like there'll just be a fat old Italian man. It's weird. I don't really understand it. It's science, I guess.
Science, that makes sense. I mean, I'm not much into science to be honest, but I'll go with it. I'll go with what you just said.
It's a facts.
Cool,
Uh,
man. Well, I'm glad you're excited because I wasn't really sure how this is going to go. I mean, it's going pretty well so far. Getting over the trying to get in and stuff like that.
right,
So I'm glad you know are here.
right. Yeah, I mean, existing is pretty cool. So
Yes, that is
yeah,
cool.
so
I,
it's fun
I
for me.
like I like the way you talk. It's cool, and you have this very confident do it. Pat does it kind of
Yeah, do it
vibe.
like a can do it attitude, right?
Yeah, you do. You really do. Because I've doing like leading up to this interview and everything. I was watching a lot of your videos, like a lot. I was binge watching your videos
Thank you.
on your main channel, uh, Life Noggin. Yes, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Life Noggin.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. Because I don't know. I thought it's Life Noggin. Okay.
Yeah, definitely left.
Okay. Cool. So I was watching all of those, and I actually listened to the podcast that you did with Lucky,
Uh-huh.
who I know of, and I know of you and Lucky and Ian, and just through Connor Manning, I used to watch a while back. So it's kind of cool because you all kind of a little connected a little bit, met each
Yeah,
other.
that was actually most of it was pre-calculated. Like we thought like, oh, because I knew Lucky for a while. Like he's probably my longest like YouTube friend
Hmm.
slash. I mean he's a great friend just in general. Not even like he's crossed over that the whole like there's that hump that like that you really have to get over when you are a internet friend where you start meeting each other in real life and you've met each other enough times where you can like say that you're really good friends with that person.
Yeah.
But Lucky is an amazing, amazing guy, and yeah, we have this kind of group that we all like converse with, and it was it was it was pre-calculated because we thought like, oh, how can we bring this entire group together to make sure that if you know Lucky or you know Connor or Ian or me
Hmm.
or Sam and Hats or um, Austin Dodge or I'm just gonna I keep listing Tim's vlogs. So
Hmm.
you or Jared G Hero 46. If you know these people, like you all kind of know the other one. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That,
we're in
that's
each other's
actually
stuff
really
way too much.
That's really cool, and it actually works. So I've been trying to figure out like how. that works, but I guess it's just a lot of communication and pre-planning, like you just said. So that's really cool. Because I do know a lot of the names you mentioned, either by seeing it on Twitter, seeing their YouTube videos or whatever. So that's really cool. So that's when did that like? I guess we're just gonna get into the questions now, but like when
Yeah,
did
no,
that
let's go
start?
for it.
When did that start? Did that start just with you and Lucky, or who kind of got that going for y'all, or was that just a
Um,
collective effort?
well, so for as far as I'm gonna say it was like 2012, I think. Ian Doki kind of brought everybody together. We were all friends,
Okay.
kind of, but we got together and we were gonna do an end of the world live show because I think it was that time where like the Rapture was coming and everyone was like, oh my God, there was that whole like thing where like people were like, I forgot his name. But he put a whole bunch of billboards everywhere that was like May 21st or something
Oh,
like
I
that.
remember that. Yeah.
Or no, actually no, this is before. This was I'm getting confused. I'm talking about the Mayan calendar. That
Okay.
everyone
Yeah.
was
Mine
like the Mayan calendar. Everyone's gonna die.
Okay.
We didn't actually think we were gonna die. We were just making a joke out of it. But we had an end of the world live show,
Hmm.
and we got introduced to just the whole group. And then afterwards, we started talking more about getting some kind of collective live show going, where every week we just a group of friends went live. But instead of a private kind of hangout, it was just broadcasted to everybody.
Huh.
So we were just kind
Okay.
of us hanging out, talking about stuff. We had little games that we played. But Ian was the leader of all this stuff, and he's probably one of the most hardworking people I've ever met in my life. But he kind of got us all together, and it's actually really interesting because yeah, I owe a lot to him, and I owe a lot to my friend Tim because if he didn't, or if they didn't get that whole thing going, I would have never met my girlfriend. Right?
Really?
Yeah, so we actually met online. It was a digital relationship for a little bit, and it's a long distance relationship now.
Hmm.
You could say it's like a URL romance. But yeah, so we actually the first time we've ever met is recorded and
Oh, awesome.
broadcasted. So like anybody can see the first moment that both of us knew we existed.
That's really
Um,
cool.
yeah, so this whole thing, everything was predetermined like that. We were really trying to get a whole group going, and we did, and now we're best friends because of it.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. I mean, I vaguely remember kind of seeing that broadcast because I've been following Ian for a while. Um, just I don't know why. Just he works. I mean, like you said, he seems like he works hard, and I'll take your word for it because it seems like he does a lot. He's worked with you a lot. You said he built this whole thing or helped y'all kind of make this whole group,
Yeah,
and I'm sure he's done a lot more. I'd love to like sit down and talk with him a bit more because
yeah,
you and him and I'm sure everyone in y'all's group has done a lot, and you guys seem like you always work hard. And you're making videos and whatnot, and making other channels and everything.
right.
So. Um, I don't know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere with that, and then I lost it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, I definitely appreciate it. I think it's like it's one of the it's one of the cool things about the internet that everyone can kind of be connected,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just kind of know each other like that.
yeah. It's very cool. Okay, and I was going somewhere that I remembered, and I just remember seeing all that happening and being connected and stuff like that. It's just really interesting. It's always intrigued me about the internet, and since I've kind of tried to get into it a little bit more, at the end of my high school years, a couple of years ago, and stuff like that. It's always been really interesting to see, but and that's obviously impacted your life a lot and changed your life a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I guess before I want to get into that sort of stuff, do you mind talking a little bit about how kind of life before your YouTube and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's pretty boring. I can tell you that right now.
Well,
Um,
I mean, everyone says that, but I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it's interesting.
Well, life before YouTube was weird because, and that's so like I never have to like think about it because it's always just it's a weird part of it. It's like there's YouTube, life after, and then life before is that weird like gray area.
Hmm.
Um, I loved I loved life before YouTube, but it was just like a real like simple time. I think I always joke about how if I didn't sign up for YouTube, I'd probably be less self-obsessed or just less concerned with how about like other people thought of me.
Hmm.
Um, that if I were to just, because there's some, I know people, obviously my best friend, he watches YouTube videos, but he's not a YouTuber, and it's weird because you would think that if you were a YouTuber, your best friend would be a YouTuber. Both of my really, really good friends just aren't really making YouTube videos, and they don't want to, and they're not in that life, and it's just so weird because it's such a fulfilling and like cool creative space, but a lot of people don't want to be a part of it. But life before YouTube was simple. It was just you just did things. I don't like I don't know what.
You just live life, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah,
just day to day, kind of going to school and.
yeah, and even before YouTube, I was still making videos. I used to go to this rec center every like Saturday morning, and we would my friend would have this really old, like his mom's old video camera, the thing that like still ran on tapes, and you were like super confused as to how it worked, but it worked. Like no one knew how tapes worked really, but we just went for it, and we recorded these videos of just us kind of like going around making like zombie films. We were making zombie films before zombie films were popular. So I was doing videos even before YouTube. YouTube just kind of enhanced my love for video. Um, and then and then after that, I was kind of talking with my friends about how we can possibly like get this whole thing going where we show people our work and it's something to promote. So we had this idea of like starting our own website. This is in 2003, so this was like,
Oh wow.
and we were we were like really young. We were like middle school at this point, and we were let's start this website where we put like our work on there. And so it's funny, like we had the idea. I'm sure other people have had the idea for YouTube. YouTube was the people that were working on it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we never really like did anything with it. We created like I forgot what it was at the time. We just did this little website builder, and we were going to post our videos and posted nothing. We didn't do anything. That was life. Life before YouTube was just me trying to find YouTube. That was all
Okay.
that it was.
So it was just a journey up until the point, kind of just you creating things and being creative and living life and trying to do your own stuff until that came around. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
So, I mean, that's really cool to hear. I mean, it's for me personally. I've always been into the video thing, YouTube and stuff like that. So it's really cool to hear that and your side of that because I guess there's a lot of people out there who prior to YouTube were making their own home videos, with their friends and trying to think of how to do this thing, And I'm a little bit younger than a lot of the people on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure I'm a little bit younger than you are. But just hearing that is really cool because there's always people who are thinking like, how can I do this and do this and do this and
right.
create something for myself. So I'm not exactly sure where you're from. I know you're from the East Coast,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
I'm from New York.
New York. Okay. I mean, I figured, but I wasn't sure because I made the mistake of one of my other YouTube friends. I was like, hey, you live in Florida, right? Because I swear they lived in Florida, but they actually lived in New Jersey. So I just want to make sure that's
No.
right. Okay.
Hashtag confirmed. I live in New York.
What was that?
I said hashtag confirmed. I live in New York.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad. Well, I mean, I'm always interested in how kind of life works in other states because I'm down here in Texas, and Texas to me is just Texas. It's nothing special. I've lived here most of my life, 18 out of the 19 years, maybe 18 and a half, or not even 19 anymore. Wow, 19 out of those 20 years. So what is kind of I don't know, what is life like in New York City, or not New York City, but New York in general?
Well,
So
I mean, I live like 40 minutes from New York City, so I mean,
okay.
I'm there a lot. I think it's funny you're saying how like Texas, it's just Texas, right? And I think everywhere, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're there long enough, you're like, well, New York City is just New York City. Like it's second nature to you. You don't even think about it. But like if I were to go to Texas right now, I think I'd have a pretty good time because I'd be amazed by everything, not knowing what anything is or where. It's as simple as like if you were to come to New York right now and you were to come on the block that I live on, it would be totally new to you. Every single block is new to you. Every tree, every bench, sidewalk, little tiny pebble. Everything is new because it's not from Texas. So, like, I would have that mentality if I went to Texas and I'd look at everything and I'd be like, that's crazy. The fact that there are horses here, there are clearly horses in New York City and upstate New York, and horses everywhere, but they're not from Texas. So I'd be amazed at these horses.
These types of horses. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
so
totally get you where you're coming from on that.
life in New York City, or just New York in general, I would say is just a little more fast-paced, and this is just going from stuff that I've heard about southern states. Is just that everything's a lot more slow and laid back, and which is fine. There's a place for it. But if I wake up in the morning and I go to a deli or a coffee shop or something like that, I'm gonna get my coffee very fast, and I'm gonna get out of there because nobody actually wants to talk to the person behind the counter.
It's really like that.
Yeah, I've been to southern states before, and I've had like 15-minute conversations with the person that was working behind the counter, maybe because either nobody was there or just everyone just likes taking their time. And then my coffee took a while to make because everyone's just kind of like, just taking their time with it, which again is totally cool. But for someone from New York who's like extremely impatient, I'm a very impatient person, like my biggest flaw. Life in New York is very fast-paced, so if I walk into a coffee shop, I'm expecting to get a bagel and a coffee within 2 minutes and get out of there because I have to get to where I need to go. And I guess that's life in like any city, any kind of big city, because everyone's kind of hustling and bustling.
Right.
But I'm going to say the only difference between where I live and maybe where you live is the fact that I have better bagels than you.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's about it. Like, I will defend bagels till the day I die. Long Island bagels. Because Long Island's not known for anything except, like, if you love racism and, like, really good bagels, Long Island is for you.
Really?
Unfortunately, like someone like, I only like bagels.
Right.
I would say, fortunately, I only like bagels. Definitely not a racist. I love where I'm from only because they make really good bagels and pizza.
Yes.
So that's about it. That's the only, like, life in New York is just fast-paced.
Fast pace. I mean, okay. I can't relate to that because, like you said, things down here are a bit slower. I don't live in the big city. I live in this medium-sized city, so that's interesting to hear. And I'm not going to say anything about the bagels because I'll just have to take your word for it because I don't know, we don't eat that many bagels down here. I mean, the most we get, we have stores, that we go and get bagels from, but they're probably not as good as y'all's up there.
IMC y'all is a totally separate thing that's never said here.
Yes.
See, New York, you can tell the difference. You can say, like, I told my daughter to feed my dog water, but what does she do? She feeds my dog coffee. So now I have a dead dog, a dumb daughter, and no coffee. That is essentially what you're going to get if you come to New York.
That sounded really cool.
That's what you hear. It'll come out sometimes. I'll be like, oh, give me a glass of water, and then they'll be like, oh, say that again. So yeah, I remember. Actually, I went on a cruise. It's not really off topic. I went on a cruise, and was the person that I met, who's still a good friend to this day. He begged me every single second to say coffee and water, and now I'm thinking about it, so I'm not saying it as much. But he was just so fascinated by the way that I talked, by the way that I talk. I walk, I talk, and I live in New York. Which is how it goes. So yeah, it's just different.
It's different. Fast paced. You have good bagels.
I invite you to come to New York City. I will treat you to bagels, and you will understand.
That would be amazing. I've been trying to get to New York City for a very long time. It just has not happened yet. I mean, I had some good friends go this summer, and I was super jealous of them. I was like, I really want to be in New York City right now because they're having so much fun. It just looks so different from life down here in Texas. And where I come from, it's small town Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my graduating class in high school was 25 kids. That's how small.
Wait, really? Oh my God.
25 kids.
That's crazy.
I know. Everyone I tell, even here, they're like, 25? That's insane. That's insanely small. How do you do it?
I thought, because our graduating class was like maybe 300
That's a lot. To
students.
me, that's a lot.
So was everybody like dating each other in high school? Like, how did that happen? Like, what happened
Oh
with that?
man, yeah, there was a lot of like couples and cross
Just
dating and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
it was crazy. I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy, but that's what happens in small town, and everyone knows each other too. Like every
Right.
family knows every other family. If you're the new kid, like I was at one point, everyone has to know who you are and like have to get to know you, and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
everyone knows who you are, even if you haven't talked to half the town, and
Right.
so it's different. So I would love to go to New York where kind of no one knows you, you know.
Yeah, well, let's swap for a little bit. Like, we'll set something up. You can come to New York City. I'll show you around. And then I've been meaning to. I need to go to Austin, Texas.
Oh yeah, I'm right down the road from it.
So so then I'm gonna go, and then you'll show me around Texas. I'm gonna have to meet Ada, who's watching right now,
Yeah,
and
that'd be
I'm
great.
going to. We're just gonna trade lifestyles for a little bit.
That'd be awesome. I'd
Yeah,
be
so let's do
so
it.
down for that. That'd be cool. One day, man, we'll have to set that up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty serious. I don't know about you.
No, I like that. I'm not joking. I need to go to Texas. As much as there's a few things about Texas that I necessarily probably wouldn't like, I think there's more in Texas that I would like because it's a new experience. I try to separate the stereotype from the state.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I'm sure there's a bunch of stereotypes about New York that people have. Um,
I'm yes, there is. So I'm
yeah,
sure it's the same for every state and everything.
yeah.
Well, that's cool. Okay, let's see. I have a list of questions.
No, yeah. Let's keep going through. I
Yeah,
want
we'll go
this.
through. Let's see. I guess maybe. I mean, I listened to the podcast that you're on, which is
Mhm.
really cool. By the way, so
Thank you.
if you ever talk to Lucky, because I don't, because I don't really know him that well. Uh,
He's great. He's a good person to talk to.
yeah, I mean, just listening to the podcast and watching his videos and stuff like that, and kind of hearing about him, he's got a lot of cool stuff. So just if you want to say, hey, somebody liked this a lot, then it'd be cool to pass that along to him. So you were talking a lot about kind of being fun and positive and stuff like that on
Right.
the podcast, and I was really interested in kind of maybe getting um, your take on that again, and kind of like where did that come from, and how does that translate over into YouTube and into your life in general?
Well, so as far as being positive or being uplifting,
Hmm.
obviously I'm not that way all the time. If you're following me on Twitter, there'll be bursts of sadness. Sometimes I'll try to play it off as a joke or something like that once in a while. But yeah, so I'm not happy all the time, which is realistic. I think a lot of people get that when they see somebody or they think like, oh God, like how are you happy all the time? Like what do you do? It's like, well, I'm not. You just happen to like see me, and like I can broadcast however I want to, however I want you to think that I feel at any moment,
Right.
which is one of the beauties of the internet. But no, I think the positivity kind of stems from that's I want people to see me like that. I want to see myself like that. So why wouldn't you act like that? There's people who they're 40 and they
Mm.
wake up one day and they're like, what the hell did I do with my life? I think that's what's motivating me is I never want to be that 40-year-old balding dude who just like looks back on his life and goes, nope. I never want to be that person. That's what's driving me to be that positive kind of guy. Um,
Okay.
once I'm 40, I'll figure it out. I'll tell myself that all the time. But
You'll look back and see.
well, yeah, because I think there's like let's just say knock on wood that I were to go out tomorrow. I want to live a life every single day where I'm just kind of racking up experiences, but I'm also influencing other people so that they can look back on my life and either be inspired by it, no matter how short or how long that my life was. They can
Mhm.
always look back and either get inspired or they can say, wow, like he sure did a lot. Or I never want somebody to go like if they're doing a eulogy or something like that. It's kind of morbid, but I never want somebody to like go up there and like be really awkward because they don't know what to say. You never want
Yeah.
to be that guy, that dead person who like when somebody speaks at you, they're like, he was a nice man who sure lived.
Yeah,
You
you
never
definitely don't want to be that guy.
right, exactly. I mean, you're dead, so who cares? But like
Right. Well,
but
yeah.
I don't want people, when I'm gone to think that way. I want to inspire people. The whole goal about like my whole focus with YouTube and with just living is to inspire somebody who will eventually come and take my place and be way better than I could ever be. That's my goal, is to
Okay.
inspire, to lead so that I can make a better leader, to inspire so I can inspire someone that will inspire more people.
Hmm.
I've talked about this all the time. The reason that I am positive is because I want other people to be positive. I want people to be happier than I could ever be. I want to look at somebody and go, I didn't think that there was a level of happiness that could be reached like that. I want to be inspired by other people. That's how I feel people should be living every day. Um, Obviously, that's unrealistic because you can't, be happy like that all the time. But try to make that a priority in your life. It's just to inspire the next generation or the next group of people that are going to come along. Do the stuff that you love and live a life as happy as you can possibly live it, so that when somebody comes along and sees you doing it, they don't think that it's impossible.
Right.
Somebody who has that thought that they're in their room and they're like, well, I'm never going to be happy. And then they might watch one of my videos and they might, even if they think like, wow, that was the stupidest thing that I've ever watched, at least they got some enjoyment out of it. So maybe they weren't as sad that day. Maybe they got the motivation to get up and do something, even if it was to go and picket Patdoesit, like even if they got that motivation to protest my videos, at least I gave them that motivation. I got them
Motivation.
up. That's
Yeah.
the whole. That's how I like to live my life.
Uh,
Hopefully, I answered the question.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you
Okay.
definitely did. It's really cool to hear because I mean, I know no one really says, "Hey, I'm going to go out and make people uninspired to do
Right.
something." I'm not going to go make people sad. But I guess going like, what if, just hypothetically, what if YouTube wasn't a thing in your life, and
Mhm.
you kind of it maybe you didn't exist at all? Um, would you still be that positive person that you are? Um, was there kind of, maybe the better question is, was there something that kind of made you say, hey, I'm going to be this way because of an experience or because of something you saw? Was there a kind of a trigger moment in that?
I don't think there was a. I don't think there was a trigger moment. I think it was, because there never really is like one set thing that gets somebody to do something, and if it is, it has to be, a massive. It has to be
Mhm.
a grand scale. I think it's little things over time that get you to where you are now.
Mhm.
You are a product of a whole bunch of experiences that happened when you were a kid. You are a product of who you surround yourself with, and you are a product of, if you look in the mirror, you keep telling yourself you are a certain way, you eventually become that way. You're a product of your own thoughts. Um, I think there's never one set moment, but I do think that there's some time in like elementary school to middle school where I was a really weird kid, very very like a very messed up and weird kid, and not messed up in the sense like, oh, I'm gonna kill somebody. I was just messed up in the sense where I was just awkward and no, I didn't fit into social norms and things like that.
Mhm.
I guess like every other artist that ever existed. But I tell myself like, I'm doing this because I want to do it. I was really doing it because as a defense mechanism. I was doing it because people would make fun of me, and I would say like, well, I'll be weird, and then maybe they'll leave me alone. But that really didn't do anything. It was a stupid way of thinking.
Mhm.
Um, it really just made people think I was more weird. So what happened was, starting from like seventh to, I'm gonna say, ninth grade, um, I worked on trying to be funny. There was a moment in class where I made a joke. I said this in the podcast before
Mhm.
with Lucky. There was a moment where I made a joke and the whole class kind of laughed, and it was just this moment of like, oh, I can do that. Like that's my ticket to get people to like me, which is a stupid thing. You should never live your life like that. We're trying to get people to like you, but at the time, it was really important because I'm in
Right.
I'm in school and I want people to not make fun of me. So that was my way out. That was my way out of being that weird kid, was to be like, oh no, he's weird, but he's like funny. He's like that funny weird. Like that's what I wanted people to think. So I started just focusing on comedy and trying to make people laugh, or trying to inspire people, or trying to do more art. Um, and I got more involved in expressing myself. So there was no one set moment that triggered it, but I think I can pinpoint the moment where I started realizing my like true potential.
Right.
Because there's little things that like made me who I am and shaped me. I'm not going to say there's one set thing that launched whatever this is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as like my purpose, what I really wanted to do, I think I could narrow it down to that, like just that one joke, making people laugh, making people feel good. That's I think what I want to do.
Okay, so that if you could pinpoint, which you make a great point, you are a product of what you surround yourself with and who and when and etc. So that would be it. Kind of that moment of like, hey, I can make people laugh. This could be a thing. And so that kind of just translated over into your kind of lifestyle and kind of like who you are and trying to be as happy as possible.
Right.
And it kind of then that translated over into YouTube, which I guess we can get into now because I mean that's a great. You have a lot of YouTube stuff that at least
Yeah.
I've heard of and I've watched and Life Noggin and everything and working with all your YouTube friends and I mean I guess you shouldn't call them your friends, you know, your internet
Right.
friends. But how did that translate over at first into YouTube? Kind of that being positive, and because I know there on the podcast you talked a little bit about how you were kind of uh, trying to transition yourself over into something that you are as a person, like who you are as a person on YouTube.
Right.
Because I know that was a big point on the podcast you guys talked about a lot. Was really interesting. So at first, how did that translate over, and how did that make you feel after time, and kind of expand on that if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, there was a weird moment where I was making content like strictly for YouTube. I was making content for like other people who were watching, which is fine. I mean, if that's how you want to approach it, television approaches it like that, where they make content for the people that are watching, which is fine because they need to make money. It's a business. But there's YouTube is this really cool thing where you don't have to do that and you can still be famous. I was making videos that I didn't necessarily like, or maybe at the time I thought were funny, but looking back, they're not. It's just pandering. I like to
Mm-hmm.
say, and this is no offense, because you know, if you're from Texas, you might really like country music. I always say that country music is like, it's really like it's pandering towards a certain group where they're like, well, I love drinking and I love my country, and it's like yeah, like we get it, you know, it's every single country song is almost like that.
Yes,
So
I totally.
I felt like that's what I was doing. Um,
Okay.
was 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 pandering towards this like young 13 to 17-year-old girl demographic, where I should not be trying to relate to a 13 to 17-year-old girl. Like it's not something that I should be doing. I should be making videos for me, and so that I can look back on it and go like, oh yeah, I made that. You know, that was me, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
really happy about that. And so the transition was weird because there was a certain moment, and it was the video. I think it was called "It Was All Me."
Mm-hmm.
It was a while back. It was very dramatic. I made it way too dramatic, but it was just kind of like I was just reciting this thing that I wrote where I was saying that anything that I'm gonna make is gonna be for me. I'm not gonna be doing it for the demographic anymore. And it was funny because after I made that video, it all went downhill. You know, like I was getting like 1,000 views per video, which is necessarily not a lot compared to some of the videos that I do on Life Noggin, but or to compare to just anybody else. But they were a lot to me at the time. But it all kind of went down after I just started making videos that weren't for these people that
Mm-hmm.
were so invested in my channel, and they left, and that's fine. But I still have a solid group of people that I make videos. Though I don't make videos for, but I make videos and they happen to enjoy them. I still have that
Right.
solid group of supporters. And they are fun seekers. They are people who would like to enjoy video and fun activities. But yeah, as far as the transition goes, it was definitely weird. It made me extremely upset when a whole bunch of people left. When I started getting dislikes on more of my videos, when I started getting more comments that were like, "Where did the old you go?" And it's like, "Whoa, it's still here. You just can't accept change."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely made me upset. There was a brief moment where I just stopped YouTube for like a month because it was funny because I never missed an upload ever.
Wow.
And it was like since I started, it was like 2011. I started YouTube in 2007 with it was another comedy channel that I had, but with as far as Pat Does It goes, it like started at a certain point, and I never missed a week. And there were some weeks where I was uploading 2 times a week, and then there was this weird moment where I was like, you know, like screw it, this is not what I like to make. And then I skipped a week, and I skipped another week, and then I skipped another week, and I'm like, well, I skipped too many weeks. And I realized I was like, oh, like I don't like that feeling of like not making content just because I'm upset. So I started venting more. I started making videos like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make videos because people are gonna be watching them and they're gonna be inspired by something. I'm gonna make videos to inspire, and even if they're funny, I'm gonna at least, you know, I want to inspire you in that way. Hopefully, if I can. And now I'm really happy with the content that I'm making. So I don't. Yeah, it really did suck at the time because I was making these videos that weren't for me, and then I stopped, and then people didn't like me as much, which I was concerned about, which I shouldn't have been. But now I'm more happy than I ever was because now I'm making the content for me, and
Right.
other people are enjoying it.
And so that makes you feel better, that kind of pandering to that that demographic, or kind of the general YouTube, I guess, at the time. So I guess for people who are starting out, because I know there are a lot of people who are kind of, I have a few friends that I've met online who are kind of starting their own YouTube channels now and have been doing it for a little bit. So what kind of advice would you give them, kind of just about that? Just maybe do what you like to do, be who you are, and kind of don't be someone you're not. I mean, I know that sounds kind of like something you should be in life. Like, don't be that person, be yourself, right?
Right. You know, it's cliche, obviously. You know, like, but it's true. And, you know, like a lot of people are like, oh, it's so cliche. Like, be yourself. What does that even mean? I'm like, well, you should know what that means. You know, like you should really know if you want to talk about how like you're living life and somebody comes up to you and says like, you just gotta be yourself. Be you. You know, if you want to go ask that girl out or that guy out or whoever, you want to go talk to that lizard. You know, be you. And if you want to go talk to the lizard, go talk to that lizard. But I know you should always be yourself, no matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be just approaching a lizard or you know a person that you like. You know, you should always approach it where you are yourself 100%. And if you don't know what that is, if you're having trouble finding yourself, one, welcome to your 20s. But then two, well, you know, you should think about, if you're having trouble like finding yourself, you should think like, all right, well, have I really been living for me? Have I really been doing the things that I'm doing for me? If you have to think about any of it, if you have to think like, oh well, maybe I have it, like you're leaning, it's a no, like you haven't really been. So when you think about, oh, have I really been making videos for myself? If you have to question it, then no, the answer is no. It's just no, you haven't. So that's when I stopped, and so that's when I stopped, you know, doing the videos for other people. And my advice would be to anybody who wants to start out or who's like trying to make a name for themselves on YouTube, stop doing that. And I'm not saying stop making videos. I'm saying stop trying to make a name for yourself, because you already do. You have a name. You have your name, and you can brand yourself however much you want. But at the end of the day, it's your content that speaks, and then the content that people are going to be watching. So just do what makes you happy, and there's going to be a group of people that will watch. And this is guaranteed, you know. And I say this before, it's my analogy of if you want to upload videos of you eating corn, like that's, and if that's you, if you want to do #corntube, then you do #corntube because that's what you like to do. And it sounds so stupid, but if you really think about it, there's people who are, say, musicians, and there's thousands of musicians on YouTube, and you wish that all of them could make it. But that's not how life works, you know. There are people who aren't going to make it, and it's always been since music became a thing. There's been people who are popular. There's been people who are like making, you know, stuff for no reason, and there's people who are like working really hard, and those people don't really get discovered. And that's, you know what? It's not about that. You know, you should always be creating stuff, like I said before, to influence other people, so that maybe they will be the person that makes it. So if you're a guitarist, or if you're a photographer, and then you show your friend one of your photos, and he gets inspired or she gets inspired to do the same photo or to take something similar or just whatever, they're inspired to go out and take a photo or play the guitar or something like that. And let's just say that your friend makes it and gets into a museum and then gets all this press and you don't. The first feeling should not be regret, or the first feeling should not be hatred. The first feeling should be like, I made that happen. It's a pat yourself on the back moment. It really is, because I mean, if you want to be conceited with it, you can say like, well, that was all me. There is bands. There's Queen, the band Queen, and there's the band that, or the artist or whoever that inspired Queen, and maybe they didn't make it, but Queen sure did. The Beatles sure did. The Beatles were inspired by people, and the Beatles inspired other people years and years, and it's still happening. And I don't think their mindset was when they started was like, yeah, we're gonna make it. I think they were doing it because they liked it, and then it really caught on, and then they realized, oh wow, we're influencing a lot of people. There's this. I never made a video about this, and I promise this is answering your question. I promise I will always come back to it. No, but there's this guy, Robert Cornelius, who was credited as the first person to take a self-portrait with a camera. So the first person to ever take a selfie. Okay? Now, I highly doubt that Robert Cornelius, when he was pointing the camera in a mirror and trying to take a photo of himself, I highly doubt he was ever going to think like, well, this is going to be called a selfie, and millions of people across America are going to be wasting their life on this. That wasn't his thought. He just did it because he liked doing it. People create music because they like doing it. People take photos because they like doing it. And there are people who want to make money or who go into it with the intention of being famous, but those people aren't really going to be living it to its fullest potential, because they're not living it for them. So Robert Cornelius took that selfie, and whether he liked it or not, inspired several millions of people.
Yes.
And I think that's great because he never knew the effect, but he did it. I mean, he never knew what was going to happen. He never knew the some horrors that happened because of it. But he just did it regardless of what the influence might have been. And I think that's how everybody needs to approach anything that they do, whether it be YouTube or music, whatever it is. Approach it and just doing it for you because you think that it's fun, and then you never know. You could be making music, and then 50 years go by. You're sitting on a bench, and somebody discovers on the internet. Somebody discovers your music that you made 50 years ago. Somebody discovers that music, and they're like, "Wow, this is really good," and then it blows up. There are people, videos that go viral that are so old, and the people in it. Maybe there was a video from 1994 that you just happened to upload on the internet. You have no idea what's going to be popular 50 years from now, 20 years from now, one day from now. So that's why I encourage everyone to just upload whatever the hell they want to upload, because they don't go into it with the intention that it's going to blow up, but you also never know if it's going to blow up. That's why you should always keep going. You should always keep making stuff.
Huh. You make some really good points there.
I hope I did. I hope that was English. I could have been speaking Japanese that entire time. I would have no idea. I hope that was English.
I think it might have accidentally went Japanese for a second, but
a little bit. Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's really awesome. I just got inspired by listening to you because.
Oh, good.
I mean, I don't know. I just want to say that because that's really awesome to hear. Kind of just, you're essentially saying just do what you want to do because you never know what effects it's going to have, but just do what you want to do because that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially.
Yeah.
No matter if it's YouTube, photography, films, corn, talking to lizards, whatever. Huh. That's awesome. So have you ever had, I mean, I don't want to be too negative, but I'll kind of just be more human about stuff like this, because I have problems sometimes kind of just being happy for someone that's doing something really cool and they're successful. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, but at the same time I want to do that too.
Right.
I think that's just my human, I want it. That's what I want.
Yeah, it's human nature. It's human nature to do that.
So have you ever had an experiences where you're kind of well, that's cool, but not really experiences?
Well, I know with Life Noggin, doing those videos, it's an education channel for those watching that don't know. I'm sure more people are going to be watching this, later on. We're posting it wherever. Life Noggin is an education channel on YouTube. It's animated. There's a little character Blocko that I voice, and the only real reason why I wanted to make an education channel is because I saw people like Hank Green and the Vlogbrothers, John Green, making the SciShow and Crash Course, like those kind of shows, and going well, I can do that. Yeah, so my first thought was well, why isn't that me? But immediately after, my second thought was well, that's why can't it? Why can't I do that? I have connections. I can talk to people. I have the equipment. Why can't I do that? And then I waited a year because life happened. But now I started Life Noggin up, and it's so fulfilling because it's something that I've always just wanted to do, and I saw other people do it, and go well, why can't I do that? And you can. The only thing that's stopping you. Again, it sounds so cliche, but the only thing that's stopping you is you, because you're the only one that's going to be able to do it if you want it to be you. And that sounds so weird. But if you want it to be you, if you're angry that it's why isn't that me? The only thing getting in the way is you.
Right.
Because you're the only one that can do it. Like I said, if you want it to be you, it has to be you.
Right. It's all about hard work and kind of just determination, which is kind of sometimes it's hard to come by. Sometimes you kind of have those days. I'm sure you do. It's kind of you wake up and I don't know, about today. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, you wake up and you're no, I'm not feeling it. And so you put the blanket over your face, hoping that you when you pull the blanket off, it's a new day, and that didn't actually happen. I'm sure we've all been there. Again, it's human nature to wake up some days and just go yeah, again, nope. Whatever it is, maybe the planets are not aligned in that day, or you woke up and you could have a chemical imbalance, while you're sleeping, your brain, some one neurotransmitter can just misfire, and then you wake up that day and you're nope, I'm not feeling it. That's just that people don't understand that your body can just screw up one day, and it's okay to have those days, because it's natural to have those days. You're not ever going to live a perfect year.
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, keep going. Because I'm just gonna keep going if you don't stop me.
Okay. Well, I guess how do you personally combat stuff, days where you don't feel motivated to do anything, because you do a lot. Do you ever get burnt out on what you do, or is it stuff that you really like doing? Because I know people. You're obviously doing something you like to do, make videos, make educational videos, make positive, fun videos. How do you ever feel uninspired to do those things at a certain day or a week, and how do you combat fixing that with yourself, or do you have any goals that you try to hey, I don't want to do this, but I have to because I like it, and it's just today or it's just this week? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, money definitely helps. That's not that's not the thing that you should be focusing on, but money obviously is a motivator, because if you're waking up and you're oh, I don't want to do this, so if you're getting paid for it, then you have to.
Right.
But if money is not the thing that you're working towards, or if you don't have that job, if you're just motivated because you're oh, I want to boost my portfolio, or I want to make it look better. All right, well, some days you're gonna wake up and you're I don't really want to do it. But then it kind of goes back to, all right, well, if you think yeah, but if in 5 days from now, am I gonna be kicking myself in the butt for not doing this? Or in a year from now, am I gonna look back and go, well, I should have done it? Because nobody wants to do that. And there are always going to be moments where that happens, because despite me doing what I really love right now, there are moments where I'll look back to 2012 and oh, I should have did that differently. And I wonder if I did this. You're just wasting your time at that point. Because you cannot go back to 2012, and even if you were really happy in 2012, you should be trying to be a better person in 2015. There's gonna be days where it's off and you don't feel like doing anything, and maybe once in a while you can take those days off. Maybe once in a while you can just stay in bed and not do anything. But again, no one's gonna remember that. You're especially not going to remember that. You don't remember the times where you just stayed in bed all day. You do remember the times you went out with your friends and you dressed up as wizards and decided to cast spells on people at the beach. You know, like you remember that stuff, and that's never happened to me before. I don't know how that came into my head, but it did. And like you remember that stuff because that stuff is the things that you maybe enjoy doing, or there's those weird kind of moments of life that make it worth it. And maybe one day your friend asked you if you wanted to go do that, and you said no, and then you missed out on all of that. You missed out on the memory. Life continues without you. Life is going to keep going.
Right.
Life is not something that is a thing that you can just control, and other people are experiencing, other people are living it. And so if your friends are asking you to hang out and you're like, no, I don't feel like it. All right, well, yeah, you can not feel like it. You're entitled to. You're going to be missing out. And if you have that fear of missing out, or if you have if you're going to have that regret, or you know you're going to have that regret, just go out. You never know what's going to happen, ever. You never know if you're going to meet a special someone. You never know if you're going, like some guy could be at that beach. It would be random, but some guy could be like, hey, here's my card, and I want to make you famous. It's weird stuff like that, and it sounds so far-fetched, but like sometimes that's how it works. And so I would say to if you want to be motivated, to combat those days where you don't feel like doing anything, just think about the what-ifs in a good way. And if that doesn't get you out of bed, then you probably should stay in bed.
Those are also very good points. I mean, you're just saying a lot of things that kind of resonate with me personally, and just I'm sure maybe a lot of other people, and kind of just, you know, you just got to do things, and kind of essentially that's what you're saying. You know, you got to, even if you don't maybe want to, but think about the what ifs in a positive way, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I would love to talk about Life Noggin for a bit, because I know I don't want to run over your time or anything and stuff like that. So if you have time, do you want to chat about Life Noggin? And because I have some questions just about it in general.
Yeah,
okay.
Feel free to ask.
Okay, cool. So Life Noggin. Life Noggin is your educational channel on YouTube. It started, when did that start exactly?
In August of last year.
Okay. And that was born out of the idea of like, hey, I want to do something like John and Hank Green are doing, a crash course, stuff like that. And kind of, how did that, I mean, who is behind that team? Is that just you, or is that you and some other people? Because like, I know you voice the Blocko, which is really cool. I have to say, I really do like your voice. It's a really cool voice, very distinct. So it's interesting to hear whenever I watch the videos, and it's like, hey, I'm engaged because your voice is interesting. So I just have to say that, not in a creepy way. So.
No, I totally get it. That's a really cool compliment, because like for a while I had no idea that I had a good voice. I just thought it was really weird and nasally. So that's cool that other people seem to be liking it. That's why I was worried. I was like, oh, should I do the voice of Blocko? Are people gonna actually like what the hell my voice sounds like? Because I don't know if it sounds good right now. But yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And to answer your question about the team. There are about 5 people behind it right now, like making it happen. You know, I definitely want to try to keep it at 5 because I like that small, like tight-knit kind of team. It's me, Ian Doki, Kaylee Uhas, who is our head writer. Formerly, it was Chloe of Awkward Adolescence, the channel. She's great. But Kaylee's our head writer right now. She's been banging out scripts, and she's incredible. She's so smart. She's training to be an astrophysicist. So we have that added to our repertoire. Yeah, and she has her own channel. You can search for it, called Explorium. And she has that show where she talks about physics or other sciences and stuff like that. And then we have our animator, Kurt Raffer. He's a lead animator right now. He's amazing. All the animations that you see on Monday are him. On Thursdays, it's our animator Julie, who's also equally as talented. She's amazing. And so we have that team that really just gets it. And I'm super excited about that. I think it's actually 6 people that I listed. I'm not sure. I was like trying to think about it in my head. It's like Kaylee, me, Ian, Julie, Kurt. Yeah, we're good on 5.
Okay. That's a good number.
Yeah, so that's where we're at right now, and we're just making it happen. We're doing it because we love doing it, and YouTube. We've been featured on the front page of YouTube. We've been featured on their education playlist. And in such a short amount of time, this thing is blowing up to the point where it's almost at 50,000 subscribers, and we never thought
That's
it would
crazy.
ever be like that in this amount of time. We had that goal going in. We were like, yeah,
Right.
let's make this. Let's try to inspire as many people as possible. Let's try to educate as many people as possible. We didn't think it was going to get there this fast. So, and we've never gotten this far in YouTube life. So me and Ian are just kind of like chickens with our heads cut off, just running around. We have no idea what we're doing, but we're making it happen, and it's kind of grown into this weird thing. It's its own little thing. It's kind of evolving by itself, and I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it definitely it is. I mean, it is really unique, and I'm not just saying that just to say that. I really enjoy the videos. I've been watching them consistently. You know, I
Thank you.
personally enjoy the videos, and I just want to say your team. That I shouldn't say your team, but the Life Noggin team is great. I mean, you guys do a lot of really cool things. How do you guys all stay motivated and stay on top of that? Because you all must be doing your own things. You know, life happens. You know, other personal projects. How does that happen? Is it just a team of people who just really care about it and stuff like that, or I mean,
Well, we always try to motivate each other by, like, so I'll post. So if we get to like, we hit 40,000 subscribers, it was a really big deal. When we hit 30,000 subscribers, when we hit 500 subscribers, when we hit 10 subscribers, it was a big deal. You know, so I always try to post that to the team and say, like, listen, guys, what we did it. We did this. We set this. Even if it wasn't a goal, we still hit it.
mhm,
And so that's keeping people motivated. Getting featured on YouTube, the front page of YouTube definitely keeps you motivated. But
yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
finding people who have this vision, and because we are not paying the animators what they should be getting,
Hmm.
not paying the script writer what she should be getting. Um, they deserve all the money in the world, but it's about believing in the idea
Hmm.
so that when you actually get to that point, when we're at 1 million subscribers, and when we're making it our full-time job, we can look back and go like, yeah, we stayed broke for a little bit, but we're definitely not right now, and that's
Right.
not what matters. But now it was a fresh start in the beginning. It was a new experience, and we were young. We didn't know what we were doing, but now looking back, now we do. It's
Hmm.
about that experience, and so my team right now that I have is so set on getting to that point and then continuing beyond. And I think the only thing that's really um, keeping them from keeping them on the team, keeping them staying focused, is the fact that they recognize that potential. And I'm grateful for that, and I think I'm just really lucky that I found those people that want to make this happen, and I'm really lucky that it's taken off and it's done so well, and um, that those people are supporting me too, because
Hmm.
they keep me motivated. There's times, again, like going back, I'm waking up and I'm like, I don't really want to record any scripts today, but
Hmm.
then I'll see Kaylee, who's pumping out like 50 scripts a week, and I'm like, all right, well, if she can do it, then like why, like, if she's contributing, then I need to contribute, because
Right.
I need to make this thing go and function.
Huh.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down
So
to.
it's a lot of cross motivating and kind of just the cycle of like, hey,
Yeah,
this we're all doing stuff. You know, you guys,
yeah,
like you said, keep each other motivated. So Life Noggin was solely your idea. I just kind of want to clarify because I'm
yeah. Yeah,
okay.
no, I definitely, I had the idea, I created it, and then Ian came on as a co-founder
Okay.
of it, because we kind of had not Life Noggin was my original, like, I thought,
Hmm.
but the after that, it was all me and Ian.
Okay.
And then our thing right now, it's 50-50, even share, like, it's me and him,
Right.
because I can't do it without him, and he can't do it without me. Um, and that's what it's just that's what about. We're inspiring each other all the time, and it's going back. It's kind of going back full circle. It's like we're doing it because we want to inspire other people, and while we're doing it, we're inspiring each other to keep on keeping on,
Hmm.
and that's really what it's all. That's really what it's all about, and that's what it should be about.
Right.
And I hope we never lose that sight and that vision. But yeah,
I,
to answer your question, yes, Life Noggin
okay.
is mine.
Awesome. Okay. Well, there's one other thing I kind of wanted to hit on with Life Noggin, and I know you've had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of other you've had a couple of different channels, and you've done a lot. I don't have, I guess we don't have enough time to talk about everything you've done because you've done a lot. So like you said, going back to the point, like, hey, I don't want to wake up when I'm 40 one day and be like, oh, I didn't do anything with my life. You've
Right.
definitely done a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm sure we haven't even got to 10% on.
Right.
There's probably a lot of stuff, but definitely I've been seeing a change. Of course, it's kind of it's an obvious change of a lot of educational stuff
Mm.
on YouTube, and I am interested to hear about what you think personally that means, like the internet being a place where people go to learn. Do you think that's going
Mhm.
to change the landscape of going to regular high school, elementary school? I mean, I like to think about that kind of thing and kind of
Mhm.
how do these videos change, the playing field of education? Well, have you ever thought about that? I mean, I'm sure you have, maybe a little bit, but if you have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Life Noggin doesn't exist to tear down the education system. I don't think
Right,
any education channel exists to make sure that nobody goes to high school ever again.
right,
I think education has always been, or should always be, because necessarily, not it's not always, but it's just to some, teachers or to some schools. But education should always be just about educating
right.
and teaching people how to think, and teaching people um, just different things, and it always goes back to, can these people that want to learn, uh, how can we get those people to continue to learn, or how can we get those people to learn if they have the drive for it, there's people who click on our videos, those people wanted to understand more about the title. That
Mhm.
so if it's, why does my foot fall asleep, those people want to be educated on a
Mhm.
specific thing. They see that and they realize, okay, well, I don't know that thing, and now I want to learn that thing.
Mhm.
And with high school, it's a little different, because or just with school in general, because it's like, oh, well, I'm going to learn everything.
Right.
You might not necessarily want to learn everything, and there are certain things in high school that you should be learning that maybe you aren't, or there are
Mhm.
a lot of things in high school um, that you should be paying attention to, but maybe you just aren't.
Right.
There are a lot of it all varies on the person, and there's a whole. I'm not even going to try to touch the education system, because it's just a very complex thing. My girlfriend wants to be an English teacher. She's
Really.
well on her way. She's going to
Awesome.
be the most amazing English teacher in this planet has ever seen.
That's
Because
awesome.
she just gets it. She just
Mhm.
wants to be a teacher, and I just with this channel, I just want to do an education channel. I just want people to, the tagline is, "Don't forget to keep on thinking."
Right.
And so it sounds so weird, like, obviously you're going to keep on thinking, but some people just forget to think about things, to think about and wonder about stuff. And
Mhm.
so we always try to remind them like that. And I just want to educate people, and you should always go into it um, like that. And so I don't think I'm going to uproot the education system.
Mhm.
I don't think I'm going to tear anything down. I think it's always going to be something that assists
Assist.
schools. Vsauce is shown in school all the time. Crash Course is
Yeah.
shown in school. We don't want these education channels don't want to tear down the education system. We want to make it easier.
Okay.
Now, anybody who maybe can't afford to go to college can take these courses online that are free, because they just want to educate the world.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do. There's some people who are in high school that aren't getting enough education. Maybe they want more. So they log on to youtube.com/lifenoggin, or Crash Course, or Vsauce, or SciShow, uh, or any of these education channels, and they learn more because they want to learn more. So it's always going to be an assist. It's never going to be anything that with the intention of tearing anything down. And it's happened before YouTube, before the internet. There's always been things or people that come along and decide that they want to help out the education system because maybe they don't think it's going in an appropriate direction, or maybe they don't think that kids are getting enough. And kids should never they should always want more.
Right.
There's never gonna be enough. Um, the internet exists as one of the greatest tools that the history has ever seen, beating out the printing press, beating out anything that revolutionized America. I mean, the internet right now is the greatest thing that we've ever gotten.
Mhm.
And I think it's more than just cat pictures. And I think the education channel are proving that is proving that, or education on the internet is proving that you don't need to just be like in this real world. You don't just need to be focused on what's going on here. You can log on and educate yourself. You don't need to just be sitting in class and absorbing that information and taking those tests. You can come onto the internet and you can further your education.
Huh.
That's at least my plan. I'm strictly only speaking for Life Noggin, and
Right.
I'm sure all these education channels will agree with me.
Right. Okay. That's cool. I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, that's interesting to hear because I don't know. My uh, just being in high school is kind of coming fresh. I mean, I consider myself being fresh out of high school. It's interesting to hear because at the end of my high school career was
Mhm.
kind of like there was a lot of videos being injected into kind of the curriculum and kind of what we were seeing. And so I always like to think about like what's the future hold for my kids, my grandkids. What is that like going to be like? And so I don't know. I just like to think about the future. But that's interesting. So Life Noggin and probably the others are there to assist to expand maybe the reach that education has.
Mhm.
Um, and that's really cool. That's just really cool to hear. And I mean, I don't know what you guys have planned, but do you guys have anything, in the works for Life Noggin? I mean, like a series, because I know, like, I know Crash Course does a little, like, they have like a series of videos
Mhm.
that's on a topic and stuff like that. Right? I know you guys are just started out, pretty much.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not even a year yet. But do you guys have any big plans like that in the future, or is it just solely right now just little snippets here and there of little bits of information for y'all, or is that something that's not even thought of right now?
Well, really, I don't know what's going to happen in the future of Life Noggin. I mean, yeah, there's ideas that we have. We're thinking about things that I can't necessarily say because I don't want anybody taking the idea or
Right.
anything like that. But we do have things in the works. Life Noggin is not just going to be a channel where where we just upload education videos and then walk away.
Hmm.
We're not doing that. We don't want to be those. We don't want to be that channel. We want to be a channel that is constantly thinking of new and creative ways to reach our audience. And we came up with the idea of making all these videos. Um, we came up with the idea of making all these videos animated because we can do whatever we want with them, and
Right.
kids can like it, and teens can like it, adults can like it. It's for everybody. And with our little Blocko character, the reason why it is just a white blank character is because just like a teddy bear that doesn't really have a one set emotion, you can project your emotion onto it. Blocko can be whatever you want Blocko to be, just like a teddy bear. So we're always thinking in terms of like in like that, those kind of ways. But we always have ideas coming out. We don't want to just be that normal education channel that just exists solely to post content. We have a couple of things in the works. What we really want to do is, and I've always had this thought ever since Life Noggin started, of doing a pop-up book, like
That'd
a
be awesome.
kid's pop-up book, or even a pop-up book for adults. It doesn't matter, but
Mhm.
with the same art style that has a bunch of facts with like little QR codes that you can scan to like go to the video, something like that. Whatever it is. And anybody watching, feel free to take the idea. It doesn't matter. But I think like things like that, and just new and inventive ways to reach people. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do with Life Noggin. So there are things in the works. I promise
Okay.
you that. We are new right now, but there are things in the works that are going to change the way people are being taught. And I can't say exactly what those things are,
Right.
but they're happening. And you'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
All right. Awesome. Well, that's really cool to hear. I'm excited, and I will be uh, supporting Life Noggin and y'all and everything that y'all are doing. That's really cool. So I wish the best for y'all and the team, and I look forward to seeing what the future holds for Life Noggin and yourself as a YouTuber, as a creator, as a person. So I just want to thank you for talking with me and taking some time out of your day to talk, because it really inspired me, and I hope it can inspire others, which I'm sure it will.
No, I mean,
I,
thank you for having me. Honestly, I think this is a really good thing that you're doing. Trying to I mean, you're getting people involved in in creative projects, or you're bringing creative projects to people in a different way. You're not just doing a blog post. You're trying to do different things, and I appreciate that. And I think definitely keeping on with that, because it's something that's different.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, seriously, keep it up. I don't want to ever see a time where this whole thing that you have going on is no more. I want this to be going on forever. I want someone to eventually take it over. I want you to be old and you're sitting on your bed and you're like, I'm so glad that I didn't stop. I want that to be you. And I really hope that is one day.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, let's keep this positivity and inspiration train a rolling.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah, and if anybody who's watching right now would like to subscribe to anything that I do, you can just go to patdoes.it, patdoes.it.
Yes.
And all the stuff that I do is there.
Yes. It's a really cool website, by the way. I mean, I totally forgot even to mention it. Sorry.
Oh no, don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's so cool. I'm on there a lot. I get on just to look at the way you've set up things, and it's really cool. So I just want to say that. So guys, for those of you who are watching, a really cool site. Just go check it out. There's a lot to do. I mean, I know you have a lot planned for it, Pat, and so I don't know. That's all I can say. And all your stuff is there. I'm sure I'll link all the other things to, this video and put it all together on the post on the website and stuff like that. So cool. I just want to thank you again for the positivity, your story, what you're doing, and so I'm glad that we could talk. And thanks again for this.
Yeah,
really
no problem. Thank you guys, you who are watching right now. Anyone's watching this in the future, thank you for watching this. Past Pat and current Pat would like to thank you. But past Pat, you're watching this right now, would like to thank you as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Pat. All right, cool. I mean, I don't even know how to end these. That's how bad I am.
Or you can just say bye-bye, and then you click that little end, the hang up button.
There's a hang up. Oh, there's a hang up button.
And
okay.
That's really it.
All right.
Broadcast out.
Broadcast out. See you guys later. Thanks again, Pat.
Bye. No problem.